Hi. I'm going to read a book. I don't know how to share screen. Anyway, I'm just going to do this live video. I'm just reading something phenomenal. I should have done this a long time ago. Okay, so a book I discovered a long time ago. This is for like natives. I got makeup everywhere. So I did my DNA test, right? And I have some Indian. So I was looking at my DNA for Gen Match, and I noticed whenever I did the I did the MDLP World for Ancestors, and I scrolled down. I learned that there's Lumbee. This is 50% Lumbee, 50% Yoruba, 50% Lumbee. So I went to go research what that was, and I came into the tribe of the Lumbee tribe, which is in South Carolina. That's Lumbee. And the Lumbee tribe origins is that's like 1885. This is my rabbit hole research. I went down and found that there was a place they originated from someone near the Lumber River, and they're actually known as the Cheraw, Cheraw tribe. And if you take it back, that is in 1737. A lot of family comes from North Carolina. And if you look at the Drowning Creek and the Cheraw settlement, this was hanged under the Negro Act. So there's a whole bunch of things going on with Winslow Diggers captured near Drowning Creek. And it was 1754 Cheraw settlement. And if you go to Cheraw and research Cheraw, it takes you back. And so I went all the way to Cheraw to research that in Wikipedia. And it says the people are known from the Sarah or Sarah. It's a Silicoin indigenous people of the southeastern woodlands in the North Carolina area near the Saratown Mountains, east of Pilot Mountain and the Yadkin River. These villages lived near the Catawba River, known as the Catawba Indian tribe, right? So their first contact was with Hernando de Soto in Expedition 1540, which was phenomenal. I'm like, okay, awesome. So who are these people? And where they come from, there's a whole list of Shawa, Charos, Chawas, Sara, Zulu. They got lost in history, but I guess now they're grafted in underneath the Cherokee Nation. But the Cherokee called them Anasuli, I'm probably saying this wrong, and the Catawba Sarah called a place of tall weeds. And so when I go into here, I found a story about Lady of Kafanakti, and it's very interesting. And this story about her was the Spaniards called her Lady of the Kafanati, and she was near present Cheraw in North Carolina mountains. Basically, they took her for a hostage, and then she fled home and returned as an African slave as her husband in the 1560s. So it's mixed with Spaniards and all that from the towns De Sotos visited. So I bring them back to 1560s. So I have a book called, this is where I get to John Gill. It's called The New World, America of 1671. And this is an account of Virginia during 1671. And I'm just going to read it. And I thought it was fascinating. It has all the states and all the information. It's in Old English, basically going on saying about how each state was before when everybody went to travel. I guess John Ogilby and Arnoldus Montanus created a book and printed their accounts of the New World, including Peru, Mexico, and the so-called now United States. So this is an account of them coming to the Carolinas, because Carolinas are just one place. So I'm just going to read a page of it, which is like freaking phenomenal. Don't mind my old English. I'm going to try to read it the right way. Let's see. Reading this. Okay, I'm just going to start on page 208, chapter 2, America. This is 208. I'll put the link in there. I start here. So, the healthlings of the air is such of that, not only benign and favorable to the home-bred Indians in constitutions accustomed to it, but the Englishmen who first planted on Ashley River through for some other conveniences they planted on the side or amongst middle of the morals and were encompassed with, this is a count of 1671, morals of felt marsh where the air pent up in the woods surrounded them that had not the freedom it had in open and cultivated countries, yet lost not in whole year's time, because some of these L's look like S's and some of these S's look like L's. It's really hard to read this. A considerable number of any person of any disfowl to be imputed into the country, those few that died in the time, sinking under lingering detempers, which they brought with them, had almost worn them out before they came hither. The Brandamans, who were became accustomed to the pure air of their own inland, cannot without hazard of the lives put them into any other place. Assured from the heathenlings into the place which in the next land to them under the same latitude venture hither. And generally all of the English planting in the West Indies are forsaking with the convenience of the country, which is some the month considerable of the English in the whole parts lay of it. Promouse all that the heart of man can with, that they fend over plus their people hither to the inhabitants of Barbados. A skillful wary planters knowing the part of the West Indies have been found to remove the hands that they could spare. As the summer is not intolerable nor offensively hot, so the winter is not troublesome for pinching, but enough correct the humors of the men's bodies to better to strengthen them and preserve their health, and so far to check the ground of the plants by this stop that they may pull out more gradually of the corn and fruits and better ripen together and ready fashionably for the harvest, that want thereof in some countries hinders the beneficial growth of several valuable commodities. The continual spring all the year long making their crops are never ready, their trees being laden with green ripe fruit in the same time which is to be seen in the vines growing between the tropics where they could bear excellent grapes. Now I can start to read it. I'm substituting the F's for the S's. Yet they cannot make any wine because the mixture of ripe and sour grapes, lower grapes, upon the frame branch renders them unfit for preps which the grapes blended. So let's talk about how they processed the food in 1671. It's pretty awesome. The branch for grapes, they would freeze out of the very crude unveils of liquor. This is also a reason why many parts where wheat were grown very well, and they do have to benefit, whilst several ears ripening unequally never made the crop fit in for sickle. But this country has winter enough to remove the inconvenience and put such a stop to the rifle of the sap and the budding of the plants to make several kinds of fruit buds blossom in decent seasons and keep even pace until they're gathered. Okay, so this is the climate of the Carolinas. So let me go to that. We're going to talk about the natives. This is awesome. We'll go up. This is 209. Okay, this is talking about, I got to start at the bottom. Okay, to happy the climate of the native inhabitants were very well suited, strong, less lofty, and well-happened people who, to their well-knit, active bodies, want not flaunt in vigorous minds. They are a people. Now, these are the people of the Carolinas in 1671, the inhabitants. They are a people of good understanding, well humored, and generally so just and honest that they may seem to have no notice of their language, have no word for dishonesty and cheating. And the worst name they have for ill men is that they are not good. Wow. They are a stout and vigilant people, which appears in the constant wars that they are engaged in, not out of covetousness or desire of surpassing others, proficience, I don't know what that word is, or to enrich themselves by the spoils of their neighbors, but upon the pitch of honor and for the glory, victory, which is the great joy, there being no parts of their lives wherein they enjoy so much satisfaction and give themselves wholly to jolly as their triumphs after victory. Valor, therefore, is the virtue they must esteem and award. Valor. Okay, so they don't lie, don't cheat, and they're honest. These are the inhabitants of Carolinas, the natives. Let's see. Reward. Okay. Reward in which they have believed themselves in wars is to wear the badges of honor and is advanced beyond others, for which marks his courage, which is among some is blacking the skin below the eyes with black lead in a fashion something of a half moon. Marking courage is not suffering to be worn by any but those who form brave action, as killing an enemy's leader, hath final signalizing himself in their encounters. They are faithful to their promises, fair, candid in their dealings, and far from dishonesty that they want even the seeds of it. Wow. For craft and covetousness, and he will be a little apt to deceive you today, who troubles not himself about the morrow and the truths and positions of the day to day itself, but proceeds not in them for want of wit, but desire of content and quiet, and by the help of their natural reasons they enjoy that happens which philosophers could not by their study and reading attain to, while their men cut off from those desires which learning could never help the other govern, which if one permitted to run out beyond the pretend are capable of no rest or bounds. And their conversation, they are courteous and civil, and their virtues make presents to one another. When they meet, their salutation is stroking on the shoulders and sucking in their breath. So they stroke their shoulders and suck in their breath. If he be a great man, then whom they salute, they stroke his thigh too, as a civil address, those patterns with good breeding. Heroes used to do the princess, and as great courtships were to embrace to their knees. After the salutation they sit down, and this is old English, it's hard to decipher. Like the F's and the S's are like the same. Usual with them to fit skill amongst the quarter of an hour before they speak. Wow, they sit still before they speak for an hour, which is not an effect of stability or influence, but actuation of gravity to their courtesy. For they are in their tempers a merry frolic of gay people, which is happy back in the day, and so given to jolly that they will dance the whole nights together, the women fitting and singing, and whilst the men dance to their arrays, which they look not like ours, but has pleasantly been but for some time like tunes of the Irish. Oh wow. So that if we will not let ourselves too fondly admire that the customs that we have been bred up not to think, Men are to be valued for making legs after our mode, or clothes that they wear, which the finer and gayer they are, almost the more suspected of luxury and infamenities. If we were to allow these men to follow the graves of their own country, and I think them fine in a shape only to hide their nakedness before the deerskin hanging loosely on their shoulders, and the women ill dressing in garments loose and necklaces and beads, while the fashion of the courts require no ornaments. If I say a long pleasant life without differing distant distempering or care, or to be valid without encumbering unnecessary trinkets, if men are esteemed for valor, honesty, friendship, and humanity, and good in nature through strangers to the ceremonious troubles we are accustomed to, the natives of Carolina will as little, or perhaps less, deserve the name miserable or salvage. They don't deserve the name. They don't deserve the name miserable or salvage, as though they have been given to them. 'Tis true, French and Spanish who have planted among them, because the French and Spaniards are planting in the Carolinas at this time, and they're planting along the natives, or little armies travel their country, have been ill-handed by him, but yet the Indians never did them any harm or treated any wildlife otherwise, that's otherwise than friends, till those Europeans, by the breach of the faith of several outrages, had provoked their just revenge, and they did nothing but what most venturous and generous sport of men are apt to do, to revenge those assaults which did not agree with their tempers, tamely to endure. This did not proceed from treachery or inconsistency in their nature, as apparent to the contrary correspondence that they have had with the English settled among them, to whom they have been their very kind. They were very they were at first very covetous of their company. After, for some time, their king's relation had been on another page. Page 210. Barbados had been admired tempter fetch a strait of the English. Wow. This stuff is so cool. But yeah, that's what I wanted to read about. And this book goes on and on. I got to read more and more about it. Okay, that's it. I don't even know if I want to post this.